Okie dokie, people. So, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, a sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife. It is directed by Gil Kenan, who co-wrote it with Jason Reitman. The film is produced by, we got Jason Reitman, Jason Blumenfield, right? It's executive produced by Eric Reich, Joanne Peritiano, Erica Mills, Gil Kenan, Amy Karp, and Dan Aykroyd. Associate produced by Maria Moss. Dario Marinelli took care of the music. Eric Stilberg was on cinematography. It's edited by Shane Reed and Nathan Orloff. John Pepsideria took care of casting. Eve Stewart is production design. Right, art direction. We've got Luke Whitelock, Tom Weaving, Andy Watson, Kitan Waker, Ben Telford, Matt Sharp, Drew Monahan, Darren McLaughlin, Meg Jones, Louise Carvey, Abby Bellwood, and Tim Adams. All right, set decoration, we have Pancho Chamorro, Ellie Forey, Marina Parker, and Michael Standish. Alexis Forte and Ruth Myers are costume design. All right, and our cast. Whew. We have got Paul Rudd. He is back as Gary Gruberson. His girlfriend, partner, Callie Spengler, is played by Carrie Coon. Callie's kid, Trevor, is played by Finn Wolfhard. And his sister, Phoebe, is played by Mckenna Grace. Their buddies, right? Lucky, played by Celeste O'Connor. And Podcast, played by Logan Kim. Right? We've also got the old guard, right? Ray Stantz, played by Dan Aykroyd. Winston Zeddemore, played by Ernie Hudson. Peter Venkman, played by Bill Murray. And Janine Mentz, played by Annie Potts, along with, this time, Mayor Walter Peck, played by William Atherton. Okay? We also have got Lars, played by James Acaster. Right, we've got Nadine, played by Kamal Nananjani. Dr. Herbert Walkitz, played by Patton Oswalt. There's Melody, played by Emily Aline Lind. Who else do we have? Peck Senior Advisor, played by Shelley Williams. The police chief, played by Chris Tummings. The library administrator, played by John Rothman. Slimer, their puppeteers, played by is Kevin Mangold. Ian White is the puppeteer for Garaka. Right, there's Daddy, played by Natalie Kustu. Right, Miss Wolowski, played by Alison McKay. The news correspondent, played by Claire Heitelman. The reporter, played by Kalisha A. Johnson. We've got other reporters played by Evelyn Edwards, Andrew Goddard, and Devia Mia. Who else? I think that's probably our main lot of people. Though, okay, let's do our 1904 firemen. They are played by Carrick Osborne, Brandon Burke, Chris Genesi, Samuel Greco, and Stephen Whitefield. The gist of the story: after saving the world from an ancient god of destruction in Ghostbusters Afterlife, Gary and the Spenglers settle into the old fire station in New York, where the original Ghostbusters began their journey back in '84 to save the world from paranormal threats. But just when they thought they could enjoy their newfound peace, the team stumbles upon a mysterious object that frees an unstoppable force from the depths of history. As chaos reigns and the pure evil plunges the world into darkness, the Ghostbusters must once again step up to save humankind from the brink of doom. With two generations of ghost hunters fighting side by side, the stakes have never been higher. Will they be able to avert the inevitable before everything freezes over? So that's the gist. Now, this film actually marks the 40th anniversary of the first Ghostbusters, right? So, and also it was made after, after Ivan Reitman died. So the film is in his memory, and he's also down as a producer. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was, mixed about seeing this. Kind of why it's taken so long, I wasn't in love with Afterlife, right? I know a load of people really dug Afterlife and thought it kind of, brought new life to the franchise, right? And yes, it does kind of give a new spark to it, right? Introducing a new generation of Ghostbusters and all of that. But we have the issue of kids, right? Kids are just always that thing in films that can be problematic. And I think that leads into Frozen Empire, because we have kids that know nothing, you know what I mean? And when I say know nothing, what I mean is there's no life experience, right? You couldn't trust a kid to be measured on their response to anything, right? Could you really trust a kid with a fucking photon pack, right? With being able to do all of that. Kids are mad temperamental. If they're irritated, they storm off. Like a kid storming off in the midst of trying to trap a ghost, right? Not thinking about something, it's messy. It's messy. And again, they play heavily into this. It's like Phoebe being the main kind of focus, right? And her actions in this film really do show she shouldn't be a Ghostbuster. You know what I mean? That's what it is, right? Like you can say whatever, but at the end of the day, it's that. You know what I mean? Right? The podcast character. What the fuck? Right? It irritated me in the first film. Logan Kim, right? Irritated me in the first film. Irritates me in this one. It's just, who's calling a kid podcast? Like, it's stupid. It is stupid. Celeste O'Connor really has nothing to do in this film. Right? It all just felt like, okay, we probably should put her in now. Just let's increase our diversity out. Let's just throw her in there. It does nothing. If that character was gone, the film's the same. That's it. Like, we open up with events from 1904, and that's all like, I think that's all fun and everything like that. But if this event happened, you're telling me no one's talking about it, right? You would have heard reference to this in any of the other films, because it would be such an iconic, memorable, occurrence for New York. So it's an odd thing to be like, oh, this happened back then, you know what I mean? So we have that. But this film is meant to be set 3 years after Afterlife. You know what I mean? So a lot of the things that happen, you're just kind of like, okay, why wasn't that put in place earlier? You know what I mean? Like, because if the firehouse is basically in possession by, then you knew all of this stuff. So surely you've been working on, whatever, from time ago. And the other thing would be, wouldn't you mention this? Because it's kind of important, right? It's kind of important, right? So that's a little bit baffling. The whole notion of, like, there's things that are very predictable. Like, Phoebe in this film is mad predictable. Right? When you've got with the mayor, he's like, you can either do it this way or that way. We know where it's going to go. We know where it's going to go. And it's dumb. Right? It makes no sense going in that direction. But it does kind of show, right? Well, like, it's the privilege of. Because I don't think Ernie's character is doing that shit. You don't need a police record. You know what I mean? Like, especially for no good reason. So, like, there's those things, right? That just the things where you're just being like, well, we know where this is going, right? We know where you're taking the story. All of this is rather predictable. Like, even Kumar's character, Nandine. It's like, the problem is, like, Kamal is a good actor, right? He's a good actor. He's decent. But in a lot of things, he does play things very much the same. You know? So the whole kind of wisecracky, blah, 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 it's just like, it's a bit boring. It's just like, give me something, show me something else here. You know what I mean? Show me something else with this character. You know what I mean? Give me something. But we don't get it. And we have this mythos, this legacy, which isn't really truly explored. So you have these things happen towards the end, but we're trying to fit everything into like 15 minutes to close out the film. So it all feels very rushed, right? All feels mad rushed and like, oh, is it that simple? Like, you're not giving people time to train and develop and any of that. Also, we have this thing, right, with brass. It would take a lot longer to do any of those things. It would take, and if it's that quick, why not do it to everyone? Why not do it to everyone? Yeah? Because we've seen in previous films, it takes more than one to get the job done. So do it to everyone. It's kind of like, that doesn't make any sense. Also, like the ghost thing, we have this whole ghost subplot thing. But firstly, right, the whole thing with it is a girl is not going to Central Park on her own late at night. And not even a girl, right? That's the thing about it. You're just like, what the fuck with this? This ain't happening. This really is not happening. And then just the notion of, because why? Right? Like, what would be the need to do the thing that happens? Because there's, conversation already. So you're just kind of scratching your head like, what is the point of the need to do this other thing? Right? What is that achieving here? What's that doing? And on the flip of that is, okay, who are the parents? Because if you're saying the parents are in this place, that means the parents must be kind of messy. You know what I mean? So it's like, who are the parents? Right? And then it all, at the end, you just feel like, oh, right, it's too much flipping on your morals, but super fast, right? Without anything meaningful to be like, yo, this is why I, made this transition. This is why I decided to do this thing, Like, it's all a little bit rushed. Rush. James Acaster is a funny comedian. His character in this film is very fucking odd. Very odd. Like, and where are the safeguards? No, you'd think there would be several generators, like several, because you cannot afford an outage. You can't. So you have all of these things. We're introducing new gadgets, which is fine, which is fun. But in certain situations, you would go to that second gadget first, right? Like, there seems no need to do the first one. You'd go with the second one, Like, it's just, like, in a way, this does feel like it's better than Afterlife. But we still have, like, certain issues. Right? We still have certain issues that you think we probably would have resolved this by now if this is 3 years after the first film. Right? The whole family dynamic stuff. There's a lot of things. Conversations about damage and all of this. Like, there's just things that you feel we'd be talking on. But, all of a sudden there are issues here, Yeah. So, with this, right, I think if you are a lover of Afterlife, you will dig this. Because I think it is slightly more of a stronger film. I mean, we don't explain, right, why Lucky or Podcast are now in fucking New York. Like, we don't explain that. You know what I mean? Like, there's things that are just like, wait, huh? How? What is happening here? There's things like that make you scratch your head. But yeah, if you really dug Afterlife, I think that Frozen Empire will be with you. It opens up possibilities for a third film, and I'm sure we're probably gonna get that. I think I saw something that it had been greenlit, you know. So we'll see. We'll see what happens on that front. But yeah, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is available on all your favourite VODs. So if it sounds like it's your thing, people, go enjoy.